Alright, welcome back to DNA Genes. In this video, we are going to get into some African American DNA information. So, real quick, for people that don't know about the information that I share, basically, I do DNA information of haplogroups, either the Y DNA or the mtDNA information. And these groups comes with these markers. And these markers are dealing with different placements of groups of people and races of people. So when you get into the detailed information, you find out, I found out from my research and from my studies that there's three different races of people dealing with Noah's sons, and you have Ham, Shem, and Japheth, three sons. So the issue is, who do you come from? What is your lineage? Where your ancestry is from? So this is where I come into play, telling people about the information that I found out about different people groups. So this is what this channel is geared towards. Just a general information-based channel for anybody that needs DNA information on these groups to get clarification and to find some type of understanding or peace and move on. Of course, with my understanding and my quest with finding who I am and understanding what role I play in this society, I became interested in helping my people and other people, because we only have a short period of time in this society. So this Western institution that we see around the world is going to collapse. And once it collapses, it's going to lead to a Eastern society change. And the Eastern society change is going to be for a limited time, and it's going to be dealing with a more technical, electronical, digital based society for a short period of time. And it's going to be with all the things that we've been using via algorithms, trends, artificial intelligence. So all that is going to be wrapped up into one, and it's going to be limiting your freedoms and your identity and your ability to either be a individual or your ability to be a person that associate with a collective group. Is going to limit that, and it's going to just make you what we've been programmed to accept, via our IDs, driver license, social securities, our partner PIN numbers. We are gonna just be a number. So I'm sorry to get off into that rant, but so a lot of people find DNA information pseudo. They find it uninteresting. They find it, boring. They find it useful for them to manipulate a angle to either promote a trend or to destroy a trend. And the irony is those trends are based off of people not knowing what they're reading from their DNA information. So it's just one of those things to where I say this channel is needed. Of course, I have other channels, but those channels are geared towards certain things. You know, so those are separate channels that I built for their own purposes and edification. And this is dealing with something totally different. So, with that being said about this channel, let's get into this information, African American information. So, I I've watched a lot of TikTok videos often dealing with this Native American slash ADOS um, war slash debate slash dialogue. So you have people that most likely haven't done their DNA test. And then, or you have people that have done like a family tree, not DNA kit, but a family tree to where they trace back their heritage. And you could do that. I've done that myself. And people trace back their heritage to certain people to get the information that they are looking for. And most of the time, these people that do that, they're dealing with, the belief that they are Native Americans. So, and most likely that could be the case. Like, my rule of thumb is this: if you have a father that have Native American ancestry, and he's like his father is a Native American, most likely your ancestry is dealing with a so-called Native American ancestry pool. The question is, what pool is it? Is it dealing with a maternal grouping or a paternal grouping? Or is it dealing with both? Remember Kyrie Irving? So Kyrie Irving ancestry is dealing with Native Americans. And I think that's on his mom's side. It could be on both. But the issue in the debate is the complexion types of these groups of people. And me, I tell people, I'm like, when you understand the groups of people, the different races of people, once you understand that, you understand a lot better who people are and how people can be certain groups of people, period. And in our American educational system, they built and they programmed us with these biases and these thoughts about certain groups of people. They planted that information in our head so we won't find this truth, so we won't be interested in proper dialogue and research. So I understand everybody's frustration, but if you haven't done a DNA test, best ones out there family tree, and 23andMe. Simple test. Guys, you get the test with your haplogroup markers, your dad and your mom, Y-DNA, mtDNA. Those two sets of information is who you are, not the percentages. Women, the mtDNA information, the maternal DNA information is dealing with your maternal line. For you to understand who your full ancestry is, you have to get your brother from the same father and the same mother. I'm sorry, not the same mother. This is just dealing with the Y. So you don't have to. You get double down to see if he's not adopted, but basically you just want the same brother from the father that you both share, or an uncle from that father that's brothers, or a cousin from that pool, or a grandfather. So you have options, and you have uncles as well. So you have options to get the Y-DNA information, and you just pair the information with your mtDNA. That's it. The percentages are just dealing with something else. I don't know if we'll get into that information on this video, but we'll see. I don't know. I doubt it. Because this is a random video, with DNA genes, I try to do the haplogroups. So the next haplogroup that I'm supposed to be doing is DYDNA. And I think I'm gonna also pair DYDNA with the mtDNA information. Other than that, we are looking into this African American classification. It's just a classification. And I say it's a classification because a lot of the terms that we deal with are dealing with national, linguistic, regional classification that are placed on people when in reality that's not their ethnic group or tribal origin. So I have a haplogroup map out, and we are looking at North America because this is dealing with African Americans. So this is the map that tells you about the Native Americans. So you have dark complexion people that have ancestry that have been here for a long time, and they say they are Native Americans. So if you're Native American ancestry from your paternal side, your Y chromosome would be dealing with one of these three groups. So the original group to settle in the Americas is dealing with the C group. So the C group would be your visualization group of the Australian Aboriginal people. The way these people look, that would be pretty much similar identity of that group of people. And then the next group, the most populous group of people to relocate to the Americas, is this Q group. So the C group, this Shemitic, the C group from Asia is a Shemitic group. So you have a Shemitic group. I don't think I'm gonna get into biblical uh, representation or reference points with the progenitors, but this is just dealing with a Shemitic group marker. Uh, this Q is dealing with a Japhetic group marker, a Japhetic group from Asia. So you see the Q's. So you have a Shemitic group that came in first, and then a Q group. So this Q group is associated more so with multiple classification of Native Americans. And then you have this R1B group. This R1B group is dealing with another group that relocated. So you have Japhetic groups of people relocating to the Americas. You have a Asian-based Japhetic group and a European-based Japhetic group of people. And you go, why this R1B is not native? But technically, all these people are native because not all of them ended up in the same territory. So when you relocate to a place and the nearest civilization or empire or settlement is off on the west coast, you are considered that the resident and the owner of that territory until a war comes, a famine, a natural disaster comes and move you out. Other than that, I say most so often for R1B that they are placed in the region, as in relocated versus, settling and being a so-called native is a different rant and a different thought process of history in general. But we'll go to the other side to see exactly what I'm talking about. So R1B, so here you are. Western Europe. And you have some right here, but this don't mean nothing because these are Japhetic Caucasian groups or Japhetic European groups. So the original group is this group right here. And be mindful, once again, Japhetic groups of people are able to create different complexion types. Keep that in mind. So this group of people are the palest group that you get of men. Besides, this old group dealing with the Chinese people and the Scandinavian groups of people with this eye. So you have a pale group of people, but they've been YouTube videos of dark complexion people with this marker. The same with J. The same with a lot of K. A lot of K. And the same with this R1B. So the R1B is a split. Like you have a good amount of this pool of people dealing with dark complexion, then you have a good amount of this pool dealing with pale complexion. That's why I say, genetic people have the ability to create different complexion types. Because all these people, the R's, the J's, especially the J's, um, a lot of these groups are in the H's. All these genetic groups of people are able to create different complexion types. So, again, the R1B in that's dealing with Native American ancestry is from Western Europe. And when we say Western Europe with this marker, we are specifically, if I can say the word right, talking about the Greater Germany region. So you have the original Germanic people dealing with that marker. So once again, you have the argument about Native American ancestry and or African American ancestry. And once again, um, nobody, came from this piece of land and migrated out. Nobody came from this piece of land and relocated out. So that's the point I need to make. So I think we are done with this. Everybody know about various types of Arawak, Tainos, Garifuna people groups. You could Google it to find detailed information about, but all you're gonna see is this. So now we go into the understanding and the context of the Bantu people. So you have dark complexion people already here, dealing with multiple groups of dark complexion people. When the slave trade happened, you have more dark complexion people coming in. So you have just about a lot of people because you have dark complexion merchants, mercenaries, what else? You have slaves, of course, and you had other, navigators and other specialty groups of people that European people would take when they come to the Americas. And not just, I properly generalize it, European. This way, I won't have to say the pale complexion, because, this is the problem with this R1B. And I hope I don't get into a rant about it, but so you have all these other groups of dark complexion people come in. Well, there's a exemption. So certain groups of people was exempted under being called um, the derivative of black. Yes, they are dark complexion, but they was not of the derivative of black. So this is where the ADOS comes in with the understanding of certain ancestry ties. You have um, African descendants of slaves. So that's dealing with a pocket of African American people. So in my ancestry pool, I'm coming from Bantu people on both sides. And a good amount of Bantu people are dealing with Shemitic groupings of people. A good amount of Bantu people are dealing with ancestry coming from Egypt, and as well as uh, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Israel region. So you have to have an understanding that um, a lot of these people are dealing with, other ancestry, and due to these empires. So you had a lot of empires and civilizations in Africa, and you had all kinds of wars, all kinds of business trade treaties, and so on. So a lot of people in this region, among all these empires and kingdoms, they already practice slavery. So when you go to war with anybody, you know, you conquer those peoples, you make them a servant class, and you put a tributary on those people. So this is nothing new. This has been going on forever since the creation of a civilization. So slavery never went anywhere. It's gonna be here today, tomorrow, and in the future. Because what goes around comes around, and there's a purpose for a servant class. A servant class in any society, in any civilization, empire, is needed. And the issue is how you maintain that class and how you treat that class. So you had people when they were in power that treated groups of people in the servant class, in the slave trade market class. Terrible, horrible. So you already had that throughout the dawn of mankind and history. So you had people that specialized in the brutality of the slave trade in the slave market, and this is where everything goes crazy because you have a lot of people from Europe already relocated and migrated into parts of Africa. And we are talking about, various civilization, mostly like um, Rome, basically. So you have that, and you have that, mostly in the northern parts of Africa. And eventually, in modern time, um, I want to say Middle Ages, Dark Ages, Renaissance, you had people, you know, um, migrating further into Africa. So some parts of Africa, once again, wasn't, settled. Remember, Hamitic people were nomadic people. A lot of the Bantu people were nomadic people. So a lot of these territories, once again, wasn't uh, inhabited. So you have the same situation with America and Africa. And I say deep into Africa because I say you gotta associate Egypt, parts of Egypt with this migration route of different Hamitic and Shemitic groups of people for a long time period. So you have a understanding. You have to have an understanding of a servant class is needed to sustain a civilization. Nobody don't want to be it, but people have to be it. Just like you have a military. Nobody want to be in the military, but you need one for protection. So all these things are needed for a civilization. The only thing that's not needed for a civilization is classification of people, ethnic grouping. I say it in the matter of classification of a national status versus their true ethnic identity or tribe or clan identity. So I always had this picture, and there's another picture of the L, or the African American women group of DNA information. So this picture is the guys. I was like, I'm pretty sure I have the PDF or the information on this page. I'm like, I've seen it before. I don't know. I gotta have it. And yes, so I'm looking up stuff for this D marker, and I find this PDF of the African American stuff. And this is a one of many, because like I have like a lot of PDFs and downloaded pages dealing with this information, and I'm pretty sure this is dealing with that pie chart that we just saw, and it has the mtDNA information on it. So real quick, let's go back to the pie chart, get some thoughts in about that. So this is African American information. So this is dealing with a project with survey questions dealing with African American groups of people. And on the next page, it'll probably go into details about certain things, the amount of people in the projects, what type of sample, what type of control is experiment they was trying to go for, and so on. So what we're looking at in this chart are people that easily identified or associated with the title or the label of being African American. And remember, this is just a classification. This is just, a no beneficial classification, national title, because there's no dual citizenship. There's no extra benefits or privileges. You got two continents. And the issue is you do have people that are not from the slave trade within this grouping of people. You have people that are from, again, Japhetic ancestry via European or maybe Asian. And then you have people with Shemitic ancestry. So let's get into this information. There is, yes, there is some Hermetic groupings of people. So this A1, this B2 is dealing with Hermetic groups of people. So these are dark complexion people most of the time. These are dealing with your people that most of us would identify as Native African people, people that were born in Africa of the Hermetic stock. And then you have this E1 group, this E2 group, this E3 group, this E3B group. So all this E group is dealing with Shemitic groupings of people. So the Shemitic groups of people, these are the people that are associated with the slave trade. The issue is more so the E3A group is more associated than most of the other E groups within the slave trade. Yes, you have pockets of A, B, E1, E2, and E3B represented, but these are small pockets of, in comparison, when you compare the E3A to those, these are small groups. So the biblical progenitors of these groups would be the E1 would be dealing with Ishmael, E2 Midian, E3A Jacob, E3B Esau. And then you have these roots from G to R1B dealing with the Japhetic groups of people. And all these Japhetic groups of people are dealing with European Japhites. So you have your G, your I, your K, your R. So you have all these people that associate themselves as African Americans. The issue is you have a good amount of these people that just associate themselves as Native American. And that would be this pocket of people, this R1B group. So now we look at the Caucasian haplogroup. So this is just a random group comparison to highlight in plain sight the irony of this African American classification. So you have this E. So these E's are mostly dealing with this right here, the E3B grouping. And you have a noticeable R1B close to half of the pie chart. And then you have the obvious, the repeat offenders. And this chart just jumps everywhere. So you have E3B right here, R1B, and they purposely, separated certain populist group accordingly, and they gave some of these markers or pie slices a private subplate of R or a E, So this information is just letting people know that there's a lot of common or similarities. I wanted to say commonalities, but similarities is better. Similarities between the two groups. And most of it is just dealing with the prophetic markers. So you do have G, the R's, the J, the R, the I. So this is very common because nowadays you have Caucasian people and Asian people, Hispanic people, all those groups of people not being able to know who they are either. So you have a meltdown in society with people identities. And when people become aware of this information and they become interested, and once they start to look deeper into this information, they start to better understand the past and where they are now, and they could probably better and build from this information to create a a better future, whatever that may be in the short term, in the short time that we have in a Western or Eastern society. So this information do help with a lot of questions. So I think this E is probably dealing with like a E1. This E3 is probably dealing with like a E3A. So that's about it with this. But yeah, so with African American people and Native American people, so these same groups of people that try to distance themselves from so-called colonizers, that they call them, uh, they are most likely closely related to those groups of people. And this is the proof, this and this. You're related. So now we go to the article. It's been a minute since I looked at this, and I probably haven't even looked at this. I probably glanced at it, and it looks good to go. Keep it. So, searching for the roots of the first free African American community. So this is perfect. Um, any dates? What's the dates? Uh, 2020. So I think they went through some of the stuff that, okay, let me go back. It says 92 individual. How many? Okay, so it's not the same. This one has 229. This one has 92. Never mind. It could be the same. Yeah, it's going, okay. To deepen the knowledge of the origin, diversity, the Pelican K paternal lineages, we analyzed sample of 81 individuals for the entire mtDNA control region, well as 92 for 27 Y chromosome, 95. So we getting close to that number of the amount. So this could be related to the picture. So a lot of times, I just skim through this stuff because what I'm doing often is just trying to find a who and where. So I'm gonna scroll down. I'm gonna try to make it easier to read because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to link this in the dis- uh, description box. So something contradicted a report. And the crazy thing is, people still want to try to. So I saw this right there at the end, and immediately I thought about this on the map. This R1B that's out of place on the map. Obviously, these people migrated and relocated to not just Chad, but into a lot of island regions in West Africa. So yeah, a lot of this R1B group relocating is a term that I like to use for R1B moving on their own free will with resources and titles and so on. So it's a force, you could stay and die, or you could leave with your money and your ancestry intact and live to fight another day. So you have that going on with R1B. You have R1B fanning the fire of being a plant in various regions to take out certain groups of people that settle. So they're trying to associate all these markers within Africa. And some people are like, well, I think certain markers are not from Africa, you know. So let's go further down. And then they go into um, other common understanding. I think this is, let's see, I think this is going into mtDNA structure. So they're trying to say, okay, we have African-based Y-DNA that may contradict the whole African studies that we've been doing in the past. So this is 2020, and in the past, they feel like there have been mistakes. So they go the holy stock of people. If you know, you know. And you see the ages. This goes back to when I was watching a person that is in the Israelite movement. I don't think the person is an Israelite, but the guy himself feels like he's an Israelite, and he's a DNA doctrine person. I'm a DNA doctrine person. So he was talking about certain haplogroups, and it made me interested into becoming aware of this DNA information. And he was saying the reason why they had test sample of this marker. So this is the holy chosen seed marker, E1B1A. So you go down and you look at this. So in the video, I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, so you had projects and sample testing that was done in West Africa via, project. Things are funded and so on. And then in the Americas, he's like, a lot of the information is just coming from paternity testing. So when I saw the age group from 5 to 18, I was like, yeah, it reminded me of the video when he was talking about they're getting paternity test information and paternity test. So all that in reality, yes and no. Yes and no. You could do a protein DNA test to obviously link um, families and children, but uh, all you're doing is a blood test. The paternity test is a blood test that tells you that these are your parents versus the protein, Y-DNA, mtDNA stuff. So yeah, this is gonna be a long video. So here we are. You have mtDNA and Y-DNA information. So L0, Hamitic women. L1, Ishmaelite women. L2A, Israelite women. L3, Edomite women. A, B, why they do that? So all those from going from the L0 to the L3, these are African based haplogroups. The A, the B, the C is dealing with Native American haplogroups. So these are the women. So the L0 is your only Hamitic group of women. Your L1 to L3 is dealing with Shemitic women. So now we go on the other side. Your Hamitic or your African base, and this is where I have the problem because R1B is not African base. It migrated there. The other groups, was nomads, and then they settled there before R1B. So R1B relocated. This is a European marker. So B2 is Semitic. E1A to E1B1B are Shemitic groups. The R1B Japhetic group. The G, the I, the J, the R1 Japhetic group. The Q Japhetic group. And you have them going Native American, and then you go, okay, European. But what you're doing trying to exclude this R1B is from the same R1A, R1B stock of people, So as you can see, when I went through the chart, I went into the biblical progenitors of these groups of people. I don't know if people are keeping up with this information, but you can always go back and rewatch it, So yeah, most of the time when I'm looking at these PDF files and articles, I'm just looking at these haplogroups on both sides, trying to figure out who the ethnic group of people that are associated with these markers. And that's it. So this is what we are looking at. So let's see, let me scroll over to the side. Number. So obviously there was some type of table, and they tell you what the table mean up at the top. But I'm gonna use this table in a different way and matter to explain to people the results. So when you do your DNA test, you go to Family Tree, 23andMe. If you're a guy, a example for a guy, you're a guy, and your DNA information is presented, you are gonna see a mtDNA result and a yDNA results. I'm gonna try my best to do like a random group. So there's this group right here. This L, this L1B1A18. So that's your maternal marker for a guy. And right across that is your E1B1A M191. So this is your DNA information. So you are a Shemitic person. That's the understanding. There's a detailed understanding of exactly what kind of Shemitic person you are on both sides. But basically you're within your race group of creation. You want to get your identity, your ancestry, to the point to where you're within similar groupings of people that always been your opposite pair. Because from what I researched, it comes back on a lot of health problems and diseases. So is there one on here that's like real close? Let's see. Here we go. So you have a mtDNA dealing with A2 and a yDNA dealing with a Q. So this would be your perfect grouping of a Native American woman and or guy with this result. We did the Shemitic stock, that was the Japhetic stock, and the Hamitic stock is done. That's about it. They put like a M13, and I don't know what a M13 is. Could be dealing with E1 or E1B. I don't know. That's the best guess I could do. And I think that's about it. Even though we are on page 3, I can scroll down some more. So all this is just dealing with the information that you just saw above. And that's about it. Yeah, and that's about it with this. More charts and graphs, and then the reference, and that's about it. So, if you are an African American person that don't know your identity and you're tired of being called black or African American, and you feel and you want to be associated as a Native American or a freedman or more or a percenter, um, just do yourself a favor and just do a DNA test. Get the results. Make sure the results are dealing with NTDNA haplogroups and or Y haplogroups. And with those two groupings, you'll find out exactly who you are. And it's a rare thing, even though I'm pretty sure it's on here. But yeah, it's a rare thing to be so-called what they call mixed. But this would be a example of being mixed. So you have a Shemitic marker right here, this L1C3A, and then on the other side you have this R1B. So you'll have your father ancestry dealing with a Western European marker that is associated in Africa, and then you have this Shemitic African-based marker. So that would be your perfect example as you, or if you want to be called mixed, the terminology of having, separate or different races of people associated within your protein. That would be what it would be for. And that's about it, you know. And the other thing, I'm not gonna go into a rant about it, but yeah, the women maternal stuff. So, um, when the women say that they are mixed with something, and they could be this, they could be that R and L, they could be this R and L. So the issue is, the maternal side, the mtDNA, you are just within the pool of your mother proteins. Your father contribute a small percentage of the X, because remember, men carry X and Y chromosome. So your percentage of that so-called mixing is not, a thing to where I'm 5%, I'm 10%. It's there, and it's there because it's needed, because the men also carry the perfect pair of the DNA information. So the X is just an offset and a perimeter for the generations to be start at a certain common ancestor and then move on. So but yeah, the guys, you have the ability to say you're mixed in this case because you carry, heavy levels of the X from your mother's side. So I hope I didn't confuse anybody. So with that being said, I think I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna see if I could if I could share this information. I don't know. It might be in the description box, and it might not. But that's all I have to say. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment your thoughts in the comment section according to the community guidelines, and I shall reply to your comment with a comment or a video. With that being said, thank y'all very much.